When the Apostle Paul begins the book of Romans, in the very first verse, his first description of himself, he describes himself as a bondservant of Christ Jesus. Now, what does it mean to be a bondservant? It means that you have a master. Is it a good thing or a bad thing to be a bondservant? Well, it depends upon who your master is. See, everybody has a master. The person who says, nobody tells me what to do, I'm not a servant to anybody. Well, there was individuals that Jesus was speaking to one day when he said he wanted to free them. You shall know the truth shall set you free. He says, we're not slaves to anybody. And he told them there in John 8, you're a slave to sin. You're a slave through your own self-will. In fact, that also, he says, you are of your father, the devil. Everybody has a master. Do you have a kind master? When Paul says he is a bondservant of Christ Jesus, he knew the joy and the privilege of being a servant that was voluntary from his heart because he knew the character of his master. He says, every day I live my life, I put my trust in Jesus, who, Galatians 2:20, who loved me and gave himself for me. He loves me more than I love myself. You see, the freedom and the privilege of being a bondservant of Christ Jesus is when you see the character of your master. And also, when you understand what is your responsibility and what is your master's responsibility. You see, our responsibility as a servant is to obey him. That's our responsibility. Many times we get tripped up because we're trying to do our master's responsibility. It is the master's responsibility to take care of us. It's our master's responsibility to give us directions, what he wants to do. But it's our responsibility to obey him. You see, he has even shed his blood to purchase us, that we might be a people of his possession. We belong to him. You know, a dear individual, the founder of Cru, originally called Campus Crusade for Christ, he writes of a particular time in his own life where he and Vonette, his wife, wrote a contract between them and the Lord, and they signed it, a bondservant of Christ Jesus. Okay, Lord, I'm yours. I'm yours. Do you have a kind master? If you know Jesus, you have a wonderful master. When you can realize, when God can say to your heart, he is a better master for your life than you would ever be for yourself, you're beginning to understand the great privilege of being a bondservant of Jesus Christ. Remember, your part, my part, is to obey him. His part is to direct me, to take care of me, to provide for me. My responsibility is to obey him. And each day know the joy that we have a master who loves us more than we love ourselves.